in western Maryland. My earliest memory. The water in Deep Creek Lake was dark, calm, and chilly, even under the harshest summer sun. My mother called it mountain water, with a strange, spooky reverence in her voice. Water without a bottom, she said. Deep Creek Lake, though tamed by man, seemed primordial. There were a few man-made beaches maintained by the Wisp or Alpine Village, the two major resort hotels, but most of the shoreline was comprised of drowned trees, rocks, and sticky black mud. As we approached in our Caprice station wagon, we passed a turnoff just before the Wisp that led to an abandoned quarry. 3 great caves had been blasted through the side of the mountain, and ruined chain-link fences had been thrown up as ineffectual barriers. Around these gaping maws, rusting equipment lay forgotten. Slippery humps of rocks made dangerous trails back into the darkness, each surrounded by oily black water. Mom was a rock hound. The first thing we did after we checked into our hotel, instead of going to the lake, was to cross the road and climb to the quarry site. On our trip in 1979, new fences had been installed to block access to the caves, but Mom had anticipated this and carried along a set of bolt cutters. She made a hole in one of the fences, grabbed my hand, and led me through, producing a cheap flashlight that cast a weak beam as we slowly moved into the caves. A cold breeze blew from within the heart of the mountain. A barely audible hum, punctuated by sounds of dripping water and skittering rocks, summoned mental visions of ghosts and monsters. Mom stopped to chip rocks out of the walls while I nervously watched the crumbling ceiling. Occasionally she would shout in triumph and bend down to show me the fossils she'd been extracting. Strange, ancient creatures trapped in stone. I carefully touched the outlines of their bodies, and Mom told me that one day we would become fossils too. Eventually we went far enough for the daylight behind us to grow distant and then vanish, leaving us alone with the flickering beam of Mom's flashlight. In that darkness she shouted, "I am here! I have come!" I feared that this might be a summons and waited nervously for a response. I looked up at her, her face hidden in shadow. She stood unflinching, waiting. "I have brought Andrew," she said. Her hand, hard on my shoulder, kept me pinned at her side. After a few tense, quiet moments, we turned and left. She seemed disappointed. I asked what was wrong as we emerged back into the warm summer day. She shook her head, now sullen and distant, and pushed me along the dirt road. She didn't speak for the rest of the evening. First thing every morning for the entire vacation, for every vacation at Deep Creek, year after year, rain or shine, my parents would rouse me and we would go out on the lake in a rented boat and motor around without any sort of goal in mind. We spent entire days motoring the lake like this, my father making endless circuits of the erratic shoreline, pausing to float near the most desolate stretches where the water disappeared behind the gnarled branches of sunken trees. Between the two of them, they would empty a cooler of beer and bourbon. Mom would take each can out and tap the top with her fingers before cracking it open with a sigh. When the gas got low, Dad would pull into a dock and refuel, and then we'd start off again. As we drifted aimlessly, my father sat in the captain's chair, staring ahead, while my mother turned the number of flattened beer cans into a math quiz. "How many cans now, Andrew?" I'd dutifully count them, prouder and prouder of my ability as the number went up throughout the day. Despite the lazy tours of the lake and the alcohol, neither of them relaxed. They always seemed on edge, living underneath a layer of fear. If a fellow boater hailed us or asked if we were in trouble, Dad would start the engine and speed away at full throttle as Mom looked back and shouted, "I think they're following!" My mother told me that I shouldn't trust anyone. I wasn't to speak to strangers or leave the hotel room or get out of the boat. If anyone spoke to me, she said, I must not forget that they were the enemy. She told me that everyone out there, a world full of strangers,